Good evening, Payne. It's Wednesday night. That means it's conducting video night. So tonight we are going to be talking about score study and all things score study. So the benefits, what it is, things to avoid, and things to do, and how to study. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple scores that I have. The first one is Luxorumke by Eric Whitaker, Shenandoah by Frank Ticheli, and Cajun Folk Songs by Frank Ticheli. We're going to use those I'm going to use this to show you some of the things that I do, and I was studying them at different points in my musical career, so you could see some of the things that I did as I've progressed as a conductor, and hopefully some of these things will help you. Now, as far as score study goes, conductors only agree on one thing, and that is that you should do it. Pretty much, they don't agree on anything else. Alright, so what is score study? Score study is literally studying the score. It is getting your mind wrapped around the piece and essentially being immersed in it. It is becoming the one who knows the piece forwards and backwards so that you can teach, conduct, and perform the piece to the best of your ability and get the best results from the ensemble you're working with. Now, why would you want to score study? Well, the first reason is time efficiency. If you want to think about a professional orchestra or a military band, they don't have weeks and weeks and weeks to prepare a concert. They maybe have 3 or 4 rehearsals. The conductor needs to know the pieces forwards, backwards, and upside down in order to work them as efficiently as possible. My college professors, when they were playing in the Toledo Symphony Orchestra, they would have maybe 9 to 12 hours of rehearsal per week before having 3 concerts on that music. They would have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe a Thursday night rehearsal, and then concerts Friday night, maybe Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night. And then they go on to their next program. So you need to be very efficient on how you're using your time. And I know that as a student conductor, you're only going to have about a week to work on the music with the band before you have to perform it at MPA. So time efficiency is extremely important, and that's the biggest benefit of score study. Second, it's just fun. It's knowing all about the score. It's getting super involved in the music. I find it really fun. I find it a challenge, and it's exciting to see how conductors do certain things in their music. All right, now let's talk about this first piece, the Cajun Folk Songs. Now, I'm going to look at the second movement of it because I feel like it's the one that that I can talk the best one about. Now, how I have done things is in a 3-color system. Now, that system works for me. If you have a different system, perfectly fine. There is no reason that you can't use your own system. There's no reason that you can't copy mine. I copied my teachers. I put my own little twist on it, but for the most part, I copied my teachers. And what my teachers did was they used red, blue, and an extraneous color. Now, since this was one of the first pieces I did, I put in more stuff. What it is could seem as a little unnecessary, but at the time, I found it very important. Still to this day, I find some of these things that are extra very important. Now, let's see what I've done. So, I use red for my crescendos, my mezzo fortes and lauders, and my cello rondos. I use blue for all the opposites. So ritardando, decrescendo, diminuendo, mezzo piano, and softer. Yeah, I believe those are everything. The second thing that I did was I marked all the tempo markings with a different sign, whether it's a star for 5/4, a plus sign for 4/4, or a triangle for 3/4, or even just a minus sign for 2/4. That's one of the things that I did that would be extra that I don't need at this point. There were a lot of time signatures in here, and as a younger conductor, it was more important that I would get them all, and I thought it was something that I needed to mark, every single one. But the biggest thing I think that was really important for me is what I marked for the trumpet. I marked that it was the first theme. Now, I know you know what themes are in music. For me, marking what that first theme was extremely important, because when I started working on this piece with my teacher, he had to ask me, okay, what's going on at all these different points? Now, let's use this piece for example. Okay, so we have only 30 minutes today to work on this piece. This is just hypothetical. Okay, so I'm going to say, all right, so we've got the intro, which is beginning to 4. Caleb, you're our first trumpet player. I want you to play, please, at measure 5. And everyone, especially the upper woodwinds, I need you to listen, because this is exactly what you are going to be playing later on in the piece. Okay, so he plays. And I'm like, great. All right, let's see who else has that. At 22, if you have something similar to what Caleb just played, please play. And that would be the flutes, the oboe, the first, second clarinet, and the first alto. And they would all play. So what I just said was about 5 minutes of going from, okay, this is what you have. Later on, somebody else has something. We have now questions. Are they similar? Are they similar? Are they the same? Anything like that? No, you just tell them. Okay? That just saved 5 minutes. Okay, what happens in between that? Okay, yeah, there's a section at 17. Yeah, let's have upper woodwinds play. Bum bum ba 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 da dum da dum. And that's different. That's actually the second theme. So what Ticheli did was he did the first theme, he did the second theme, goes back into the first theme, and then started to develop it. Now, how did I know that? It's because I studied the score. I found out that, yeah, Ticheli is going to first say what the two themes are and then go into it. So that was extremely important. Without score studying, I would not have known that. And without studying the score, I wouldn't be able to tell the band, okay, this is what's going on, and this is how I can help you. All right, now let's look at something different. Let's look at Shenandoah. Now, Shenandoah and Luxorumque are going to be more like the Welsh Rhapsody that you're doing, because they're based on vocal pieces. Shenandoah is going to be the most similar because it's a folk song. Luxorumque is not a folk song, it's an art song. So, what did I do that was similar and different? Here is what I've done. Here's just the first page. Now, as you will see on the first page, I've got red and blue marks for those crescendos, decrescendos. But I've also got some green marks. Green marks, instead of being geared towards the time changes, because I can tell you in this piece, there's maybe 1 or 2 time changes. These green marks are signifying entrances. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing that you are going to have to do as the student conductor. You will have to be cueing you'll have to be cueing and giving the best entrances that you can to the band so that they can be as successful as possible. Now, how did I mark that? Right before the beat that they come in, I just put a green line in a bracket. Let's look at the trombone one. That's how it works for me. I also underlined where it said 1 only because I thought that was important at the time when I was studying it. Now, again, this is my system. You can use my system. There's nothing wrong with stealing it. Really, nothing wrong at all. Because that's what musicians do. We steal ideas from each other. All right? What else have I done in here? So, one of the things that I did in here was I put some sticky notes in it. Do I recommend it? Maybe. Do I recommend this specific brand of sticky note? No, because I didn't like this brand. This did not write very well. But it helped at the time, so I just kept it in there. But you could see now, all the crescendos, all the decrescendos, everything I marked because I wanted to know what was going on. Now, do you have to mark everything? Absolutely not. If you are someone who just needs one big crescendo at the top of the page or in the middle of the page and then a decrescendo somewhere at the top, do that. I'm going to recommend against that because you want to get your eyes out of the score and you also want to get your eyes towards the middle and bottom. Everyone always looks at the top, okay? It's just what we do. All right, let's talk a little bit about things to avoid because we've talked a lot about things that you can do. Things to avoid. So, a lot of people will say it is beneficial to listen to the piece that you're working on. Obviously, if you have that luxury, which I know you will. But definitely not. Do not be practicing your conducting and cueing while you are listening because of this reason. When you do that, you become a follower of the music, not a leader. Your mind becomes trained to go with whatever you're hearing, meaning you become a reactant, not the catalyst who is going to make the change. So you're reacting to the beats that you are hearing, and the beat and the tempo that you're hearing from the music from either your iPod, phone, computer, versus internalizing that and you being in charge of it. That's the first and probably the biggest reason. Second reason is you lose a sense of self. You lose a sense of self in the way that your ideas on how to make the piece your own become overshadowed by the music you hear by other people. If you are hearing, if you're listening to, let's say, the Florida State recordings of the pieces, and you do that so much, over time, that is the only way you can hear the piece and hear it acceptable. You're not going to be able to make ideas, at least not anywhere near as well or efficiently, and it's going to take you a lot longer to think of those ideas that are going to be different. And those ideas may be good and they're unique to you, and that's one of the big things about conducting is you put your own spin on the piece. Those are probably the two biggest things. When you become a reactor and a reactor to the music, your tempo is going to slow down. I promise you that, because you're going to be waiting on the band to do stuff instead of telling them this is when we do it and now. All right, let me look at what else. All right, how to score study. So we've looked at marking the score. But how to practice once it's marked. Singing is the best way to practice your score. I know that it's different. It's different than what you're probably used to doing. My assumption is you're probably used to just playing everything on the saxophone. But by singing, you're going to have a more genuine idea of the piece. Now, let's also put into personal factors. As a saxophone player, you've got access to instruments in different keys. So there's no reason that you cannot play the clarinet part on a tenor saxophone. Let's be honest with each other. The flute part is almost always going to be similar to the clarinet part. So that knocks out that. Oboe, also similar to clarinets in some way. Right? The French horn part, similar to alto sax. The low brass part is probably going to be similar to the tenor sax. Sorry, I'm so tired. Okay. The tuba part is going to look like the bari sax part. Right? And percussion, well, percussion is percussion. The fun way about practicing percussion is making weird noises, like in the Cajun folk song, there's an ostinato. It goes, and when you have a crash, you say crash, or you do something to help your ear learn this is where things are. It sounds kind of funny, but it's the best way to do it. So that's how you can be playing stuff. But honestly, using your voice is going to be the best way. Now, also, Taylor can help you with that singing stuff. She can help you by playing clarinet parts. Use your resources. It's only going to help you. How to study. You was singing while you're conducting. That is totally fine. Singing with a metronome, perfectly fine. Using that metronome to excuse me. Using the metronome to help keep yourself in time. That is extremely important. Learning the songs that are in the Welsh Rhapsody, because if memory serves correctly, they're all folk songs. So they've got lyrics. I would put money down that those songs are on YouTube. So learning them, that is going to be a great way for you to teach the band what this is all about. I mean, think about it like this. Would you teach the song Shenandoah differently than I've been working on the railroad? I would. How to study. When you're practicing your conducting, do not be sitting down. Because when you're sitting down, most likely you're going to be putting your elbows too far low. Instead, stand up. That's going to give you a much better feel. To practice your wrist movements, put your hand on a flat surface, like a table. Oh, sorry, my hand was in the wrong spot. 1, and just isolate your wrists. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and subdivide 2. All right. So that's all I've got to say about score study for tonight. If you've got any questions, please email me. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Have a good week, and I hope to hear from you soon.